Happiness Report. This is March 21. Out of 143 companies that were listed in the World Happiness Report, India is at 126. And this is a composite index that is made out of a couple of variables such as social support, income, health, freedom, generosity, absence of corruption. We are at 126, and the least happiest country happens to be Congo, and a couple of countries like Sierra Leone. Where are we? The question is, where are we? Now let's look at the promise of technology, how India has been faring, and after 1995, particularly after 1995, we have been doing quite well. And we were at a crucial juncture or an inflection point where technology, the wave of technology went across, and we were at the right moment, at the right spot. And we were at an advantageous position, not because of anything else, not because of high incomes, just because technology became more affordable. A report by Nokia, a leading manufacturer of 5G technologies, says that today India has about 151 million 5G users, consuming about 3.6 times more data than 4G users. And by 2026, 575 million of India's population will be on 5G networks. That's something that is very, very significant because 5G brings with it a lot of attendant advantages that many of us cannot dream of. Today, we may just see that as a speed, but the moment it comes into our households, into offices, into automation, into several day-to-day things that we do in life, 5G will have a significant impact. So that's the positive side. And I'll just a couple of things that technology will bring in. More digital payments. You're talking of electric vehicles now. That's why Elon Musk is interested in India. Your mobile applications, which are now the common man's mantra. You have EdTech, where we are all there. You have AI, which is coming big time. But for some failed experiments by Google's Gemini, let's look at smart technologies like automation. We're talking of medical technologies, so on and so forth. And today, let's be proud that the techies in Chennai are building the Ford Motor Company's AI plant. The AI engine and the AI effort of the Ford Motor Company, a legacy motor company at that, and the top 3 in the world for quite some time, today faces an uphill task because it's been seen as a laggard in the market, and it has to really catch up with the rest of the world, especially Teslas. Going forward, what are the challenges? I'll quickly run through. The biggest of them being the data privacy, talking about democratizing education and healthcare. We're talking of jobs being created. We have to create big time jobs now if the inequality has to go down. And we have falling wages. And this year particularly has been very tough. Campuses have really had a very, very tough journey in terms of placing students. So what are the efforts that we are keeping at Hyderabad, at IBS Hyderabad? We are very proud that we have a very strong team of faculty, Professor Vijay, in the operations and IS area, who are highly talented and highly capable of understanding the global scenario, the market scenario. And at IBS, we are also revising our curriculum very regularly to ensure that we offer programs and courses that are in requirement by the industry. So changes in curriculum, we are launching 2 new programs in the UG programs. We are also looking at faculty upskilling in the next 2 months, which is an ongoing effort, and definitely industry involvement in things that we do. So I'll wind up now. I think I'll put a perspective to the conference, but let me congratulate the entire conference organizing team, the faculty of the operations and IT area, the area head, Dr. Sharvanan, and all the people who are directly or indirectly connected with this conference. And I wish them all the very best to ensure that the conference reaches its stated objectives. And we are more wiser at the end of the 2-day conference. God bless all of you, and thank you so much.
With utmost reverence, I invite Professor Sanjay Fuloria to present the conference theme. Presently, he is occupying the esteemed position of Professor and Director at the Center of Distance and Online Education at IFHE University. He has enriching career spanning 24 years across academia and the corporate realm. Professor Floria's expertise encompass marketing, sales, market research, analytics, and team management, coupled with adeptness in various analytics and machine learning tools. At IFHE University, he spearheads online distance education programs while imparting knowledge in advanced analytics, business research methods, and project management. Previous leadership roles at Cognizant Technology Solutions have further honed his acumen. Armed with a PhD in Management, Technology and Strategy from IFHE University, he also holds a Master of Management Studies in Marketing and IT from Malviya University National Institute of Technology, Jaipur, and a Bachelor of Engineering in Electronics and Communications from Bhilai Institute of Technology, Durg. He has publications in reputed journals. He has coordinated and acted as a resource person in various FDPs and NDPs for the Institute. Please join me in welcoming Professor Sanjay Floria for his address.
Thank you, Dr. Vijeta. At the outset, let me welcome each one of you to this event. We got an overwhelming response for this conference. We received 226 submissions, out of which 147 were accepted for presentation. Let me go to the theme. So we are covering three things here. We are talking about technology, analytics, and operations. In the modern world, technology stands not merely as a tool, but as the very loom on which our future is woven. As we gather today to explore the confluence of emerging technologies, analytics, and operations, we find ourselves at the precipice of a new era, an era where the demarcation between digital and physical blurs. We are already seeing that, where data becomes the most valued currency, and where operations are no longer about maintenance, but also about innovation and strategic foresight. Technology is anything that wasn't around when you were born. So this was an assertion made by Alan Kay, who was one of the founders of personal computers. This captures the essence of emerging technologies. They are not just novelties, they are the very framework upon which the future is built. However, as we navigate this new terrain, we must ask ourselves, how do we harness these technologies not just for the sake of advancement, but for the betterment of society? We heard the VC and the director talk about the human aspect of it. So it can't be just advancement, we have to look at the other things as well. Enter analytics. In the words of W. Edwards Deming, a titan of operations management, in God we trust. All others must bring data. In a world awash with information, analytics stands as the beacon that guides decision making, transforming vast oceans of data into insights that can steer businesses, governments, and academia toward informed strategies and operations. Yet the question remains, how do we ensure these insights lead to equitable and sustainable outcomes? This brings us to operations, the backbone of any endeavor. It is in the meticulous planning, execution, and continual refinement of operations that the true potential of emerging technologies and analytics is realized. And we see a good impact of nice planning in this conference, and we'll see that in the next 2 days. So operations are really important. As Peter Drucker, a pioneer in the field of management theory, once said, the best way to predict the future is to create it. In our quest to integrate new technologies and data-driven insights into operations, we are not just adapting to the future, we are actively shaping it. However, this journey is not without its challenges. With great power comes great responsibility. The ethical implications, the risk of widening inequality, and the potential for misuse of technology and data are concerns that must be addressed with rigor. We should be transparent about that, and steadfast commitment to the greater good is required. As we embark on this exploration today, let us do so with a sense of purpose, a commitment to ethical principles, and a vision for a future where technology, analytics, and operations converge to create a world that is not only more efficient and productive, but also more equitable and humane. Let us remember the words of Sir Tim Berners-Lee, the inventor of the World Wide Web. We need diversity of thought in the world to face the new challenges. Before we move on to the next and the most important part of this event, let me invite all the guests in front of the stage to unveil the book of abstracts. Thank you very much.
Without waiting any longer, I would call our esteemed chief guest, Professor Vijay Sundar M, for his address to the audience. Professor Vijay Sundar M currently holds the esteemed positions of Professor of Practice, Academic Director for the Center of Business Innovation and Experiential Learning Program, Chair at the Indian School of Business. In addition, he serves as an affiliate faculty at the Max Institute of Healthcare Management and holds advisory board of memberships at the Center for Executive Education and the Executive Fellow Program in Management at ISB. Previously, he held prominent roles in including Head of Business Process Excellence at the World Bank Group, USA, Assistant Vice President at Barclays, and Quality Leader at American Express and Citibank. Professor Vijay is highly qualified, holding certifications such as Six Sigma Master Black Belt from the Indian Statistical Institute, PMP ISO 9001, Quality Lead Auditor, and the Lean Facilitator. His academic achievements include a PhD in Operational Excellence from the Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, and MBA from Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, and a Bachelor of Engineering Gold Medalist from Anna University. He is renowned for his teaching prowess, delivering specialized management courses for MBA, Executive MBA, PhD scholars, and business executives. His research interests encompass operational excellence, project management, operations and supply chain management, behavioral operations, and digital transformation. Professor Vijay has authored numerous publications, including books, research papers in esteemed international journals, and thought leadership articles in renowned publications such as Forbes, Fortune, and The Hindu. He has also been recognized with prestigious awards and accolades, including the Global Crossbuy Award from the American Society for Quality and the Professor of the Year Teaching Excellence Award from the Indian School of Business. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my esteemed pleasure to invite Professor Vijay Sundar to address the audience. Please join me in welcoming him with a warm round of applause.
Thank you very much for the warm introduction. The introduction was quite warm. I'm quite pleased about that. But I would like to call myself firstly as a student, because being a teacher, we always have an opportunity to learn every day. And most importantly, I'm proud to say that I am the student of the Vice Chancellor, Professor L.S. Ganesh sir. So thank you for having me here today, Vice Chancellor, the directors and the Dean. And of course, the conveners of this conference. I can understand the kind of effort which would have gone behind making this conference as what we see today. The title of the conference was not only interesting, but also it was quite timely and apt for what is happening today, both in industry, academia, as well as at an economy level. So today I thought I'll talk to you a little bit about this topic of why most of the efforts that revolve around digitalization, which stems from the emerging technologies, often fail. I'm not going to present a research paper anyway, so you need not worry about any scientific evidence that I may be showing. But today it is a fact that most digital efforts fail. And it's important for the people in the business world to recognize why it fails, so that we can address and we will not let our firms get into that trap of failure. So let me start by talking to you today about a story which my granny used to tell me when I used to be a small kid. The story goes like this. There used to be a fox in the forest. And in the forest, this fox used to observe every animal, how it is behaving in the forest. I mean, being a forest, there are many animals there. And the fox observed the tiger. When the tiger walks in the forest, it's always very royal, isn't it? The tiger gains a lot of respect from other animals. When the tiger walks, other animals give way to the tiger and bow with a lot of respect. And this fox was observing all this for quite some time. And this fox got jealous. It started thinking, why is this tiger gaining all the respect? Why not me? And what did the fox do? It started looking at the tiger, and after some time it thought that, oh, the tiger is getting all this respect because of the stripes in its body. Yeah, the beautiful stripes the tiger has in its body. So what did the fox do? It went to a nearby roadside ironsmith and requested, hey, can you please put some stripes on my body as well? This is how the fox became. Unfortunately, after burning its body and having the stripes on its body, when it walks back into the forest, nobody really cared about the fox even now. It didn't get all the respect which it was expecting the tiger would have got having the stripes in its body. What am I talking about? I'm not talking about a fox. This is the state of digital initiatives today in the industry. Every organization today thinks that its competitors get a competitive advantage or market leadership because of emerging technologies or digitalization. How foolish is that thought, isn't it? Is the tiger getting all the respect because of the stripes in its body? Probably not. Tiger has some unique abilities which made it what it is in the market of the forest. Now, how foolish is this fox to think that just by digitalization, which my competitors are already doing, I will also gain marketability or market leadership. How foolish is this thought? I'm not talking about an anecdotal story, but I'm talking about a syndrome in management called as a foolish fox syndrome, which is highly prevalent in today's industry. Trust me, in the past 1 decade, any conferences that I have attended, any keynotes that I've heard about, any papers that I have reviewed, without the usage of the terms like artificial intelligence, IoT, blockchain, cloud computing, I cannot find even a single instance in the last 1 decade. Everybody talks about all this today. The question is, what does all this jargon mean to organizations? Are organizations gaining competitive advantage just because of all these emerging technologies? The answer is no. I have some research findings to share with you. Most organizations today which claim that they have gone into the journey of digital transformation have actually failed. I'm not saying that, the research says that. 70% of organizations today, according to the Forbes research, are failing in their digital transformation efforts. And don't think the remaining 30% is all good. The 55% of the remaining 30%, which seems to be successful, are actually not satisfied with the digital transformation, the so-called success which they have achieved. And it's not only this, a lot of money gets going into the digital transformation efforts in the name of technologies. We lose a lot of healthy workforce from the organizations in the name of technology today. And trust me, in the US alone, it is more than $2 billion the spend in technology per annum. And imagine 70% of that actually getting wasted because these digital transformation efforts actually fail. If this is the state of digitalization that we are approaching towards, then what is the use of talking about the research in emerging technologies at all? I want to push you back and think about this question. What use is the technology for if it does not get implemented correctly in an organization which could reap a success or a competitive advantage to that organization? In the name of digitalization, where are we heading is an important question to think about. So today I'm going to present about why digitalization fails in this context, because we have a big responsibility as tomorrow's leaders of organizations, you all, to learn why digitalization actually fails so that you can safeguard it in the organizations that you will be working with tomorrow. Isn't it an important question to ponder? So if I have to reframe this question and to clarify, I am an ambassador of digitalization, by the way. I work in the area of research which overlaps between operations, behaviors of people, and digital technologies. So I am not against digitalization. I am an ambassador of digitalization. All that I am trying to say is that an organization first needs to ask itself, am I ready for embarking the digital journey? It is not just looking at the competitors who talk about digitalization, who claim about digitalization or emerging technologies, and we behaving like the foolish foxes today is not going to take any organization anywhere. So the important question to answer at that juncture would be, what is this digital readiness? When can we say an organization is ready for digitalization? You know, if I have to give you an analogy, think of you going to a gymnasium today. And once you go into gymnasium, what do you see? What do you see? You see all the people there lifting heavy weights, isn't it? We see that often. Huh? And we all get excited. Wow, I can see everybody lifting 50 kilos, 60 kilos. And what do? We also go and lift that 60 kilos on the day one. Are we doing any good for our body? We're tearing our muscle actually, isn't it? The question is, are we ready to lift that today? The same analogy holds good in digital transformation as well. As an organization, are you ready for embarking a digital transformation journey? And that is what I call as digital readiness. Now the question is, how do we assess this readiness? I mean, I know how to assess the temperature in the human body using a thermometer, but how do I assess the digital readiness of an organization? So that I can safeguard it. If I am not ready, first let me be ready before even embarking the journey, so that I don't fail. My investments and efforts don't get wasted. Huh? The first important aspect that we have to notice when we talk about digital readiness is about seeing the big picture. Let me give you an example about a hospital. to help explain what do I mean by a big picture. We always see them in the hospitals, the doctors. Yeah, everybody able to see my screen here? Yeah. We always see the doctors, and doctors are the core of any hospital. The healthcare value chain, doctors are the most important stakeholders. Do you all agree with me? Yeah. You know how hospital administrators or doctors see a hospital? Do you know how do they see? This is how they see. They see themselves as the primary stakeholders or service providers, and they have an obligation and a responsibility to treat patients, and of course by the way they treat, they kind of solve the health issues. But you know how the patient sees this whole experience? This is how the patient sees the whole experience. A doctor feels proud if the quality of the prescription is very good and the OPD, outpatient department wait time, is not observed by a doctor, but it is observed by a patient. A doctor feels very happy when the doctor is able to diagnose the patient, identify the root cause of the problem within 5-6 minutes of the discussion with the patient. The doctor feels that I am a very effective doctor, I am a very efficient doctor, isn't it? But this is not the way how patients see. This is the way patients see the healthcare value chain. Doctors see only that 5-6 minutes which the patient spends with the doctor. That's what doctors feel as a measure or a key performance indicator. But you know what the beneficiaries patients see? The patients see that 20 minutes which they waited in the outpatient department, the 10 minutes which they waited in the registration desk, and then the 6 minutes of spending with doctor, and another 20 minutes waiting in the pharmacy queue, and 4 hours waiting for a laboratory test. In total, I have spent about half a day in the hospital, is what a patient sees. Now when we think about digitalization, where is the core problem for us to improve? Where is the core opportunity for us to improve? Is it that 5-6 minutes which the doctor spends with the patient? Is that an opportunity, or is the opportunity much broader in the organization? This is an important aspect to think about. If we miss this big picture, which most organizations today miss in the name of digitalization, we start creating automated or artificially intelligent systems in silos. But the real world does not exist in silos. Customers or beneficiaries of your service or products do not see silos. They see the end outcome, which involves a big picture. Let me give you another example from my experience. When I used to work for a largest bank in the world, I don't want to name the bank, one of our CXOs got excited in one of the conferences which he attended, where he learned about a lot of emerging technologies which will help automate the human resource department, human HR systems. So with this excitement, the CXO came back and he said, oh, let us go ahead. I want to create a one-stop shop for all the HR activities that we do in our organization. Across 236 countries, more than 2 lakh employees, they want to create one-stop shop for all HR activities. Isn't it a good opportunity? Sounds interesting, isn't it? It was an interesting problem. So starting from employee recruitment, onboarding, talent management, promotions, knowledge management, reskilling, redeployment of labor force, everything now one-stop shop is created in the organization. Big success. Everybody celebrated the digital project in the organization. But at the same time, our finance and accounting head was looking at all this. And she said, hey, when HR can do this, why can't we? They also came up with another digital project to digitalize all finance and accounting activities as a one-stop shop. That means vendor onboarding, vendor selection, supplier management, accounts payables, accounts receivables, payroll, all of that is now integrated into one system. Are you able to visualize that on one side of the organization we have a great one-stop shop as a HR digital project, on the other side we have F&A one-stop shop, 2 great projects, isn't it? Isn't it? Of course. The whole organization celebrated these projects for 21 days. On the 22nd day was the first of next month, where we all need to expect our salaries. Then broke the puzzle. they realized that these two digital projects did not do any good for the organization. On the 22nd day, because 236 countries, 2 lakh employees did not receive their salaries on that day. The whole organization panicked. I mean, the president of the organization is now concerned. Hey, how do I fix this problem? Where did we go wrong? They did some quick root cause analysis. They broke their head. They did not understand why people are not receiving salaries on the 1st of this month. They involved a consultant. The most popular consulting firm, management consulting firm in the world came in and they said, okay, let us do some due diligence. They said, hey, we found the root cause. The root cause is that your human resource system needs to send a feed every month that a particular employee is still on the payroll of the organization for your finance and accounting system to process the salary. But after these two digital projects, which are fantastic projects on their own, that feed is not going to this system. You know why? Because these two technologies don't talk to each other. Consequence, 2 lakh employees did not receive salaries the next day. Now what to do? We have to fix this problem. Now the CXO said, wow, this is great. We found the root cause, now let us fix it. And what does the consulting firm do? They said, we will bring in a new technology, an interfacing technology, which will make these two technologies talk to each other. And you know what is the interesting part? This new interfacing technology is more expensive than the original two technologies itself. Where are we heading in the name of digitalization? Because the way we see as an opportunity for applying an emerging technology and the way actually it needs to be applied in an organization, there will always be a gap. And that is where the important readiness factor number 1 comes into picture, which I call as systems thinking. What is digital readiness? If I have to define it, summarizing this discussion, I would say digital readiness of a firm lies in the systems thinking. What is systems thinking? The two separate successful projects does not mean we're actually creating a digital ecosystem in our organization. No. The sum of the parts need not always be greater than what it actually appears. Isn't it? So the first way I define digital readiness for the future organizational leaders sitting in this room is to understand that digitalization always happens at an ecosystem level. And first, when we identify opportunities where we can apply emerging technologies, it is important for us to understand this big picture view of an organization and not to create pockets of excellence using technology. Then you don't do any good for your organization, rather you spoil your existing competitiveness in the market. Number 1. Number 2, how else can we measure the digital readiness of an organization? Let me ask you this simple question. Whenever something wrong happens, generally, whom do we blame? Let us assume that we are all doing a big conference, so many people are putting their heads and hands together, trying to arrange something, and something goes wrong. We're all trying to take a patient for a surgery in a hospital, all doctors, nurses working hard very much to get the surgery successful, and something goes wrong during the surgery. In a bank, when they are innovating the entire net banking process, something goes wrong. Anytime, whenever a business problem occurs, whom do you blame generally? Can I hear some answers? Whom do you blame? The other person? Oh, the picture is indeed hinting you, is it? Harvard Business School did a global survey across 60,000 managers. Global survey, not in single country or a continent, across the world. They asked the managers in a psychometric questionnaire, whom do you blame when a business problem occurs? The same question which I asked you. 92% of the respondents said one of these answers. Either it must be my one downs, people who report into me. Either it must be my top management. I'll blame my top management if something goes wrong. Or my peers or subordinates. Or other stakeholders, my suppliers, vendors, partners. Hey, something messed up. Or the people who was really working when something went wrong. Who was there? When it went wrong, I find the people and I start blaming them. That's what 92% of the respondents actually said. Huh? But you know what this great gentleman says? Have you heard about him? You must know about him. Edward Deming. He says more than 85% of problems in organizations occur because of bad processes and bad systems. There is nothing like good people or bad people in this world. All people are good people. When something goes wrong, whom to blame is the wrong question. What to blame is the question to ask. There are only good processes and bad processes that exist in the world. Imagine an organization. When you all sit for your job interviews, how does organizations approach you? What do? They interview you and select competitively, isn't it? Will they go on the road and randomly pick somebody, hey, come and work in an organization? Do they do that? No, right? There is a systematic job description which goes into the market, 100 resumes get shortlisted, 20 people are called for interview, 10 people are kind of shortlisted for the final round, and 2 people they roll out the offer, isn't it? And then if something goes wrong in the organization, you blame the 2 people. How foolish is this thinking? Then you are not trusting your recruitment process in a firm, isn't it? Huh? Managers should not think like this. In the name of technology, we are missing out an important element as an opportunity called processes. In the world, processes exist, or even organizations exist only for people. I mean, there is a myth around emerging technologies that they are going to kill many jobs and people will go all over without knowing where to go with emerging technology. That's a myth. Organizations exist in the world only because of people. That's why organizations don't exist in Mars, because we don't have people in Mars. To make people's life easier, we set processes in the organization. And in order to excel in our processes, we need emerging technologies. It is not for killing the people we need technologies, isn't it? And in this myth, we are losing an important layer in our thinking process called refining our processes and systems. And that is the second important readiness, I would say, when we talk about digital readiness. If your processes are not good, if your processes are not healthy, then you are not ready to embark on digital transformation. Digital transformation is not just going and buying some technology and putting on your organization, isn't it? I mean, if you do so, then it's a royal route to failure to join the bandwagon of 70% organizations, which I showed you in the beginning. But trust me, digital transformation becomes more complicated because it deals with people. Huh? Do you know every time when we bring in a digital change in the organization, it cuts across multiple levels of thoughts in the people, assumptions, apprehensions, isn't it? You all have witnessed many digital changes in your day-to-day life, isn't it? We are not using the same mobile phone which you used 10 years ago. Today I use the same remote for my air conditioner, my washing machine, my refrigerator, which is operated through my phone. That means we have evolved digitally over the past 10 years, isn't it? And this was a very difficult journey for any of us. Now this happens even more difficult for the people who consume your technology and the research that you are doing in technology. I mean, you need not trust me. I can demonstrate it to you. How difficult the digital change the world is going to witness. Shall we try a small experiment to demonstrate why digitalization is a complex phenomena and how the change management would be more difficult when it comes to digitalization? Shall we try a small experiment, guys? Everybody? Okay, why don't you all get up? Let's try a small experiment. We all are legacy systems, isn't it? Legacy system means our human body has been trained in a particular way for past many years. You all agree? Yes. Yeah? Am I audible? Yes. Okay. We are also an organizational system. We have many interdependent connections within our human body, just like any other firm exists today in the world. Now I am going to test how effective is your current organizational system is. Are you ready for embarking a change? Shall we try that? So first I want to test your system by testing what you already know. We already know right from our childhood, and we have trained ourselves in saying that this is my right hand and this is my left hand, isn't it? Are you all trained so? Yes. Let us see how efficient is your system. When I say right, you have to lift your right hand. When I say left, you have to lift your left hand. Shall we try that? Okay. Left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, 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 left. Wonderful. You all are, seems to be like a wonderful systems. Now what am I going to do? I am going to bring in a small change in your system. Trust me, it's not a digital change. It's a small change. This time, when I say left, you have to lift your right hand, and when I say right, you have to lift your left hand. Shall we try that? Yeah, small change. You all want to follow what I say? Everybody has that intent to do it? Yeah? Okay. You got it clear, right? When I say right, you have to lift your left hand. Okay. Right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for participating. If any one of you would have observed this hall from here, you would have seen the chaos in the second time. It was all chaotic. Did I do any digitalization on you, on your systems? A small change. And you remember I asked you, you all want to do what I say, isn't it? And you all said yes. That means even in your organization, when you bring in digitalization, all people want to follow what you say. Most of the time, people will have an intent to follow what you say, just like all of you. But though you add intent, why was there chaos in this room?
Because you are standing.
Why?
Because you are standing.
Oh, you want to try it with sitting now? I can try another experiment with sitting. And I can guarantee it will be even more chaotic. We need to recognize that whenever we bring a digital change in an organization, a digital transformation in an organization, it is not about technology first. Digital transformation is less digital and more transformation. That means the second way I define digital readiness is all about people readiness. Unless your people are really ready for digitalization, don't go ahead and put any emerging technology in your organization. It's not a right way to actually embark your digital journey. So the second definition I give about digital readiness, a caution, is people readiness. Inherently, there will be resistance from the people. Even if they have a good intent to follow what you say, follow the digital change that you bring in, there will be an inherent inertia, a resistance in every organizational setting that we need to recognize when we talk about emerging technologies. And that is why digital change is a complex change. Have you heard about these three terms before? Muda, Mura and Muri. Hey, these are not bad words, huh? You can use them freely. These are not bad words. Not unparliamentary language. What does these mean? Muda means waste in our processes. Mura means variation in our operations. And Muri means overburdening of our resources. I'm using these terms because they represent these meanings in Japanese language. And why did I bring in these Japanese terms? Before, the quality movement of recognizing process improvements emerged from Japanese ways of working. And this way of looking at every system from, hey, is it adding any value to my overall business ecosystem? Number one. Number two, am I able to do it consistently again and again to my customers? Number three, in this process, am I overburdening any of my resources? This thinking is otherwise called as lean thinking, popularly known as lean operations. Now, why am I talking about it when I'm talking about digital transformation? Because without leaning out a process, you are not ready to embark digitalization. The third level of readiness of an organization comes from process improvement. Remember this. A bad process when gets automated will not become a good process. It will only become an automated bad process. So first we need to make the processes look healthy. Then think about technology. I mean, a bad process when automated may improve its speed, but that is very myopic thinking. We don't invest so much money on technologies just for improving the speed. That is only myopic. Anyway, efficiency will come in your technology journey. You don't need a technology motivation just because you want to improve efficiency. That will anyway come. It's a byproduct of technology deployment. Now we need to think big. Can we create new business models using technology? You know, in healthcare today in our country, you know how healthcare embarked digitalization, emerging technologies. First, digitalization was put up in the car parking areas in all hospitals several years ago. Then it came to OPDs, outpatient departments, where tokens were all digitalized. Instead of giving, hey, you will be the next patient, they will give you a number and that will appear on the screen. The queuing process was more facilitated. That's how it evolved. And then it went into clinical processes. We have robotic surgeries today, which are more critical, more sensitive, where technology penetrated. But today, after the rise of telehealth models, technology has penetrated into business models. Today, hospitals not only offer technology as part of their clinical processes, but also on their business models, where they say, hey, through telehealth model, I make another revenue stream to flow into my hospital, isn't it? But we should not stop there in this thinking process. Today, if I have to give you a good example of an organization which has looked at healthcare at a business model and disrupting the market, I would call it Apollo's. Have you heard about Apollo's CIE? An engine, an AI engine. You know what they do? A hospital sees another hospital as a competitor. That's very common. Apollo's also saw like that for many years, but today they won't see other hospitals as competitors. Now what did they do? They said we will bring in telemedicine models so that we can penetrate the rural parts of the country where health infrastructure is bad using the telehealth model. Great. But the problem is, in the rural parts of our country, we have several doctors who are local doctors who influence this process of telehealth penetration negatively. Now, those doctors are actually competitors for the Apollo's telehealth, isn't it? That's how any layman would look at, but Apollo's did not see them as competitors. You know what they did? They said, hey, small and medium-sized hospitals or clinics or nursing homes in this country, we Apollo's as a corporate hospital are not looking at you like competition. Come, use our services to treat your patients. You only treat your patients. I'm not going to hijack your customers into my system. No, that's not my aim. See the disruptive thinking using technology. You know what they did? They came up with a platform where the platform is not for their patients to use Apollo services. That is the telehealth platform. Now this platform is for all small and medium-sized hospitals in our country, nursing homes, roadside small doctors who have a setup of a small clinic. They can use the platform of Apollo's, the digital platform of Apollo's, where Apollo will daily connect them with different parts of the country, the patients who are suffering without healthcare. Now these doctors are onboarded into that platform without considering them as competitors. Now see, digitalization is bringing collaboration, partnership model with so-called competitors whom we have been thinking in the erstwhile business model so far. Now what happens? Those doctors are very happy because now they get huge demand every day because Apollo keeps assigning patients to them on their platform, they treat the patients. And for that they get money, so the doctors are happy, number one. Now these doctors are not of Apollo, but Apollo still makes money because for giving this platform, they charge a subscription fee. Just like how Netflix charges or Hotstar charges for us, this platform is also running on a subscription model. So Apollo is also happy, they are getting more revenue in this process. And the patients are also happy because they lack the health infrastructure in different parts of the country and now they are getting connected to a certified registered doctor. Win-win-win strategy using technology. This is how we have to look at technology from a business model perspective. if we see that I am putting a technology on my process only to improve the speed of the process, reduce the headcount in that process, it is a myopic thinking. You will miss the bigger harvest of what technology can do for you by getting into this trap of myopic thinking that it is only efficiency that matters for an organization. Efficiency will anyway come. Think big. Digital technologies can do marvels, just like how Apollo's leveraged it in our country. Mayo Clinic leveraged that in the US. National health systems in United Kingdom have been disrupting the healthcare space in Europe. The problem is, for many years they had wrong prescriptions or prescription errors in NHS system in the UK. Today with technology they are able to solve those important problems which leads to economic development in the country. Now that's how we need to see technologies. Technology is not here only to automate a process. Then we are actually kind of insulting a wonderful science behind it. So digital readiness is about process improvement. Remember this much, that without improving and making your processes healthy, without leaning out the processes, we as an organization are not ready for digital transformation. Now before I close, let me unfold some of the jargon, because we all use this jargon or we often hear this jargon many times in our day-to-day conversations today, because we are the lucky people who live in this digital era, isn't it? How many of you use these words called AI, cloud, blockchain, IoT and all regularly in your conversations? Can you raise your hands? You all feel proud about it, isn't it? And you often hear also others using that. Trust me, 90% of the people really don't know the meaning of these jargon. I'm not saying it just like that. I'm a behavioral scientist. I've looked at people, their behaviors, how it changes when we talk about technology. They get a sense of accomplishment, they feel proud, and they assume that they look very knowledgeable when we use these terms in our regular communication. That's the fact of today's digital fashion world. Now I'm going to unfold some of this jargon to you in a simple managerial language without using complex terms. This is how world used to be for past several years, isn't it? We had people, we had processes. You agree? For many years, many decades, the world existed like this. Healthcare, banking, manufacturing firms, agriculture, everything existed in this model. There are people could be employees, customers, beneficiaries, partners, collaborators, and there are processes which will facilitate an output for these people. Banks existed, education institutions existed, hospitals existed, economies existed, trade, industry, everything existed for several years based on what I call as the traditional intelligence. And traditional intelligence is coming as an intersection between my people and processes. Traditional intelligence means our natural intelligence, the God-gifted intelligence in our human brain. We lived only with that for past several years, isn't it? In fact, if you talk to one generation ahead of you, they will say, we lived more happily using this traditional intelligence. And then came this fellow. The so-called emerging technologies or technology or digital technologies, however you want to call it. And when this fellow came into picture, you know what happened? He disrupted the entire system which was existing before. And because of that disruption, two new kids were born. The intersection between people and technology and the intersection between process and technology. I'm not sure if you're able to see the circles which are drawn there, but these are intersections which I'm trying to show. So there are three circles. One is a people circle, process circle and a technology circle. The intersection between the people and technology circle is called artificial intelligence. That means the definition of artificial intelligence does not have processes. It is an intersection between people and technology alone. That's the true definition of artificial intelligence. And on the other hand, the intersection between process and technology is called automative intelligence or automation. See, in automative intelligence, there are no people. These are two different ways of looking at technology. Now, how do we understand them? The question is, today in the world of many technologies, what technology should be used for what kind of problem to be solved in the business world? Is an important question to ponder, isn't it? Can I use IoT to solve a problem randomly? Can I use cloud or blockchain to solve a problem randomly in my organization? No, we need to have that clarity of what technology could solve what problem in my organization, isn't it? How to trigger that thinking? is using this fundamental understanding of what artificial intelligence or what automotive intelligence actually means in reality. Now, on the right side is quite easy to understand. Now, let us assume I have a firm and I am hiring Mr. X into my firm. When I hire you into my firm, how do I train you? How do I train you in my firm, in my organization? How do I train you? I have a set of processes. I train you in that processes. I will say, hey, step 1 is this. If this happens, do this. If that happens, do that. That's how I train people newly joining in my organization, isn't it? Now, why do I need you to do this training? Can't I write this, whatever so-called process, in a piece of paper and train a robot? If so, I am talking about automotive intelligence. So, in automotive intelligence, there is technology, there is a robot, there is a process which we call as an algorithm, but what is taken away here? People. Yeah? That means when I write a set of rules, so-called the process or an algorithm, instead of training a person, I train an algorithm on it, and then I see how efficiently the algorithm is working in order to do things. Now here, no sick leaves, no problems with conflict management in the teams, no fights with the managers, because it's a robot, it doesn't have emotions, it works 24/7 for me, more efficiency in the organization. I removed people out in the game. That is my automotive intelligence. Are you with me? It's easy to understand, isn't it? Now look at this side, the artificial intelligence. Now here is an interesting part. For us to understand artificial intelligence, I need to tell you a little about my daughter. You know, at my home, when I tell something to my daughter, she listens to me very carefully till I complete. I mean, now that you would have realized I have a habit of talking for a long time. But she is very respectful. My daughter listens to me patiently. And then after I am done, she will do whatever she wants to do. But you know what? How much ever I tell her, she will not do what I say. But she observes me and does things exactly the way I do. She mimics me. You all did that when you were kids, isn't it? This is how human intelligence evolves. Kids learn by observing, not by a set of rules that we tell kids. Hey, do this, do that, do this, do that. Learning did not happen in you and me also like this. The same phenomena happens in artificial intelligence also. So in this case, what happens? This so-called kid, my artificial intelligence, is actually sitting in my computer, and whenever I make any decisions, this is for cognitive work, I make decisions. Every time I make decision, that system is going to observe how I am making decisions. For 1 million times it observes me, and 1 million first time it feels that, oh, by observing I have learned something. So I am not writing any rules or algorithm here on this side of the diagram. The rules, algorithm, process exists only there in automotive intelligence. Here no rules, no process, no algorithms. The system, the technology will learn by itself. It finds the patterns in the way I am making decisions, and it creates its own rules for itself. First stage of artificial intelligence called observatory learning. But it didn't stop here. After observing me making decisions for 1 million times, for the 1 millionth first time, now that system is going to tell me, hey, you know what? This time, before you make a decision, let me predict what decision you are going to make. Let's have some fun. Because I observed you for 1 million times, I have found patterns in the way you are making decisions. So this time, let me predict how you are making decisions. And when it predicts, it will ask you for feedback. It will say, did I predict it correctly? If so, it will say in its memory that yes, my prediction patterns are correct. If not, it will start evolving with your feedback. What am I talking about? This is called predictive analytics, the second stage of learning in artificial intelligence. And then it observes me with this feedback, again predicting, asking me feedback again for 1 million more times. Another 1 million times are over, and the next 1 millionth first time, it is saying, now you don't make a decision, I will tell you what decision you need to make. Now the kid has grown big. We all did that, no? Many times I said to my dad, hey, you don't know how to make decisions, I'll tell you how to make decisions. That means the kid is now grown big. This is the third stage of learning in artificial intelligence. This is the evolution of AI, right? This is called prescriptive analytics, where the AI will prescribe what decision is more appropriate for your business problem or your decision. Are you? So from observatory learning to predictive analytics to prescriptive analytics, how the evolution of the learning happens in a machine is what we call as machine learning. Isn't it? I'm just unfolding the jargon in a simple language for you to understand and appreciate and select what kind of technologies will be apt for what kind of problems. So for artificial intelligence kind of route if you take in the organization, what kind of problems it can solve? It can solve decision making related problems. It creates recommender systems, decision support systems. So what technologies can be used here? We can use technologies like neural networks, NLP, machine learning, and everything how we all make our intelligence happen. By seeing we learn, by hearing we learn, by speaking we learn, by touching we learn, same thing. Image processing, video processing, voice processing, all of this fall under this category of artificial intelligence. On the other hand, for automated intelligence, what technologies can be used? Robotic process automation, chatbots, IVR system in call centers. You all experienced it, isn't it? English के लिए 1 दबाओ, हिंदी के लिए 2 दबाओ. Algorithm, rules. We don't need people to do that. That's where automated intelligence comes into it. So based on whether your work in the organization is routine work, transactional work, then organizations should take automated intelligence route. If the work is cognitive work, decision making work, then artificial intelligence. There the technologies are RPA, chatbots, IVR systems. Here the technologies are neural networks, NLPs, image processing, voice to text conversion, those systems come into it. Now, why is this important? Because when we talk about having a systems view, seeing the big picture, number one. Number two, looking at digital transformation for the sake of people. And number three, leaning out the processes before bringing in any technology. We have to appreciate the right selection of technologies to solve right kind of problems in our organization. And in the center, the intersection of all the three circles is called collaborative intelligence. Collaborative intelligence is where people, process and technologies all get married together. We are living in that era today, where my Alexa actually recognizes as soon as I walk into my house, it recognizes that I am already in the house. It greets me. It talks to my GPS system. First it talks to my camera system in my house, identifies that I have grown some hair extra, image processing system which is happening in the background. And then it talks to another technology, which is GPS technology, to find out the nearby salons in the location where I am. Then it talks to another technology called telecommunication technology, calls that salon, and it also knows that I am a miser. So it will negotiate with that salon. And then it talks to another technology called Microsoft Outlook in my computer and blocks the time. And when I am entering my house, it is just saying, hey, you know what, I've blocked the appointment for you to have a haircut. This is collaborative intelligence, where cyber physical systems in the current Industry 4.0 era actually work towards creating this collaborative intelligence. What is Industry 4.0 now? It is not just a set of technologies. It is integration of technologies without having any human being facilitating this interface. That means my washing machine earlier had a separate remote and my AC had a separate remote, and I used to operate 2 remote controls once upon a time, long ago. Then what happened? With a single remote, my phone will act as a remote, one remote for all the electronic devices in my house. Evolution. But today, that is not required. My washing machine will automatically talk to my air conditioner, and Alexa will guide both of them that have already entered into the house, you should turn on. That means a human is no more required to make 2 machines talk to each other. This is called cyber physical system, where technology integration truly happens beyond a single technology towards what we call as collaborative intelligence. Here are several use cases. I am not going to go into them in the interest of time, but many organizations today have actually disrupted the business markets, creating new business models by using this collaborative intelligence. One, two examples I can speak without going into details. Have you very popular, what do they manufacture? Heavy farming equipment. For several years they made money by selling these tractors. But today also they sell tractors, but you know what they sell along with the tractor? They put an IoT device inside the tractor when they sell it to the farmers. Now what happens? The farmer when uses this tractor in the farm, this IoT device will capture more than 600 variables of real-time data. 600 variables, trust me. About the seed quality, weather conditioning, water, surface of the soil, everything. We cannot name it, I cannot remember all that. But more than 600 variables of data is captured real time and the farmer doesn't care about it. The same tractor which he is using in the farm. But this time there is a device within the tractor. And farmers don't care about it. Who cares about it? Now this data goes into John Deere company on a real time basis. They have an engine which will mine all this data and create some interesting insights. What insights? When should farmers sow which kind of a seed in which weather condition and what seeds to go together? That insight will come out of the data. Now what do John Deere do? They send this insight back to the farmer on their SMS. Not for free. Farmer have to pay some subscription to get this alerts. See the model. The data is coming from the farmer's tractor and farmer already paid for buying the tractor. I made money as John Deere first by selling my tractor. Number two, I made my farmer buy the subscription model where the farmer gets alerts about how to get the highest yield throughout the year in the crop, and by that also I am making a new revenue model for the collaborative intelligence. This is how we need to see technology, not just for efficiency. Spice is one of the wonderful restaurants. When I walked into this restaurant in Boston for the first time, I was puzzled. You know, Spice. In this restaurant, one who takes order is not a human being. One who passes the order to the kitchen is not a human being. One who cooks food in the kitchen is not a human being. One who manages the kitchen is not a human being. One who comes back and serves the food to the customer is not a human being. One who gives a bill to the customer to get the payment done is also not a human being. Except customer, there are no human beings in this restaurant. First robotic restaurant in the world. Collaborative intelligence. How should we look at emerging technologies for the future of disrupting the world of business lies in our own choice. If you are very myopic to look at technologies only from a perspective of building efficiencies, oh, what is the ROI this year when I bought a technology for $1 million, what will be my return on investment for the next 2 years? This is not the way we have to approach technology. Technology will not give you returns immediately. It builds capabilities in your system, which will give you competitiveness over time. So we have to respect emerging technologies in such a way, in the way of looking the big picture, desiring it for the sake of people, leaning out the processes, and lastly, not getting into some of the traps that the 70% of organizations which I showed you in the beginning get into. So before I close, I want to caution you with the 3 types of traps managers often fall into in the name of digitalization. The first trap is called the curiosity trap. I mean, I'm telling you because some of you who attend this conference will hear a lot of presentations today about emerging technologies. Don't become curious out of it. You know what happens? There is a saying in management, a great management scientist by name Abraham Maslow once said, if you have a hammer in hand, everything will appear like a nail for you. And this is a big trap. After learning about many technologies in the conference, don't go back probably into your organizations tomorrow where you work in and don't say that, hey, you know what, I know this technology, now I will see for opportunities where I can force fit technology into my organization. Is bad thinking. We need technology to solve problems. We need not force fit problems into a technology which I like personally or which I become curious about. This is the first trap many managers today fall into. The second trap is the readiness trap. As I told you, there are 3 types of readiness that we have to do for an organization before starting the technology journey. The people readiness, the process readiness, and the existing technology integration readiness. Without this, it is similar to hitting the gym and tearing our muscle without understanding the holistic nature of emerging technologies. Lastly, replication trap. Many managers fall into this. Replication trap means what works in one organization may not work in another organization. Today we see a lot of successful case studies about technology deployment all over the internet. Don't think that that can be replicated in another organization as is. It's a myth. Just like how Fox thought of replicating the stripes in its body and gaining the competitive advantage, replication of an emerging technology will not give you a competitive advantage. You need to see your organization from its own uniqueness. Every human being is unique and every organization is unique. What worked in one organization will not work in another organization unless you tailor it to your organizational ambidextrosity and the complexities involved in your organization. This customization is the third trap which most managers don't do and think that, oh, XYZ organization did that, they were successful, let me also replicate it in my organization. You're only burning your fingers. So before I leave, I thought I should caution you about, in the name of emerging technologies, look at from an applications perspective. And when you look at applications, you need to be cautious not to fall into these three traps. So here are some of the readings which I will recommend for you if you are interested in some of the topics which I spoke today. These are some of my articles. The first article is a Harvard Business Review article where I talk about these three traps which managers fall into with more examples. If you like that conversation, go into this article and get more insights about it. The second and the fourth article are California Management Review publications where we talk about a phenomena called digital myopia. In the name of digitalization, how many organizations look in a very myopic view and miss the bigger benefit what technologies can offer. These two articles actually give more insights about that. The third article is in the Rotman Management. In this article, we talk about how lean can enable digitalization in organizations. Without lean, doing digital is like jumping into a well without knowing the depth of the well in the name of learning to swim. So, my dear friends, I would like to conclude this talk by quickly summarizing the key takeaways. Firstly, look at an organization from a systems perspective when you talk about technology deployment. Systems view matters. Number two, realize that digital transformation is less digital but more transformation. It's all about people. Number three, unless your processes are leaned out or become healthy, slim, you're not ready for digitalization. Fourthly, when you look at digitalization as a selection of technologies, you have to look at what problems can be solved through artificial intelligence and what problems cannot be solved through artificial intelligence. Where do you need technology? Where do you need humans? Where do you need human plus technology collaborating? This knowledge has to be embedded in our thinking when we are talking about technology. Lastly, be cautious about the three traps that I spoke about: the curiosity trap, the readiness trap, and thirdly, the replication trap when you embark the digital journey. Thank you very much.
On behalf of everyone here, I would like to extend our sincere thanks to Professor Vijay Sundaram for his enlightening presentation. Your expertise and insights have truly enriched our understanding of digitalization and readiness of an organization in the path of digitalization. We are grateful for the valuable knowledge you have shared with us today. Thank you. Without further ado, I would like to request our Dean, Professor Sindhuja Menon, to present the memento to the esteemed chief guest, Professor Vijay Sundaram. I would like to request Professor Sivaprasad to present the memento to our honorable Director, Professor K. Venugopal.
కానీ ఇట్లా పెడితే వస్తారా లైవ్ చూపిస్తారు
I would like to request Dr. Jaypal Dole to present the memento to Professor Sanjay Floria. As we conclude the inaugural session of ICETAO 2024, I kindly request Dr. Shubhagata Roy, the conference convener, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Honorable Chief Guest Professor Vijay Sundar, respected VC who is not there, Professor L.S. Ganesh, respected Director Professor Venu Gopal, respected Dean Professor Sindhuja, and respected Professor Sanjay Fuloria, Director CDOE. All the guests of the dais, my colleagues and my dear students, it's an honor to stand over here and extend the vote of thanks in front of you among the august gathering of these academic stalwarts. I would start my vote of thanks by thanking the Almighty for keeping us healthy and within spirits so that we could organize this inaugural function smoothly. Next, heartfelt thanks to Professor Vijay Sundar for accepting our invitation and gracing this occasion. You very aptly quoted, sir, the foolish pox syndrome and presented a true picture of today's business scenario and their digital readiness. Next, my thanks goes to Professor L.S. Ganesh, who is not present over here. He was instrumental in inviting our Chief Guest Professor Vijay Sundar, and who has always been a guiding force behind us for organizing all the kind of events that we organize in IFHE. Thank you, Director Sir, Professor Venu Gopal Rao, for inspiring us for undertaking all these various activities and challenges from time to time. His untiring enthusiasm encourages us for organizing such events smoothly. I must mention that this is the third row in a series, the third week that he is attending such kind of conferences he is addressing to. We believe that with the able guidance of leaders like you, definitely India will be developed and will become the Rishi Guru in 2047, sir. Our heartfelt thanks to Dean Professor Sindhuja Menon for taking care of all the conference-related requirements and her day-to-day supervision. Next, thanks to Professor Sanjay Fuloria for always being there whenever we required his help. He often acts as the bridge between the higher authorities, the HQ, and the faculties like us. So his valuable support was instrumental in managing this event and particularly for arranging the logistical requirements by a single phone call that has helped us very much, sir. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for presenting the conference theme. Our area coordinator, Dr. D. Saravanan, so always a source of inspiration for us, and thank you, sir, for believing in us and giving us the responsibility of conducting this conference. My sincere thanks goes to all the administrative staffs in the campus, off the campus, in the headquarters, particularly the venue management staff, Mr. Ramchandar, particularly Mr. Nurus, the branding team, Mr. Sudhakar Rao and Mr. Sridhar, the CRC team sitting over here for all their help, Ms. Lakshmi Prasanna and Mr. Arjun for all their support for arranging all the stuff, and they worked till 11 p.m. last night, and our sincere thanks to them for arranging all the items, whatever was required for this conference. Last but not the least, my sincere thanks to all the faculty colleagues from IPS and from other staff, other colleges, all the participating faculties and all the participating students, to all the dear students of IBS for coming to this conference in this inaugural session and making this conference a huge success. And my sincere thanks goes to all the organizing committee as well, particularly Dr. Sayan, who is not here probably, Dr. Santosh, and particularly Dr. Sayan for keeping me awake till 1 a.m. midnight very often, so often. So thank you all, and God bless you all.
Now I request everyone to rise for the national anthem.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जगधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
I request all to join for the group photo. Group photo. We will break for high tea for half an hour. I would request all the participants and dignitaries to join us near the registration desk. Kindly join for the workshop at 12 noon in LTA by Dr. Shantanu Shankar Bagchi from Micron Technology.